Hello random ladies and gents, and welcome to another video about the king of the monsters, Godzilla. Or more accurately, his eternal rival and king of terror, King Ghidorah. Now, ever since the recent King of the Monsters film came out, fans have been going crazy over this amazing film. From praise to pessimism to pondering theories about the film. One particular theory made by Altiori in regard to Ghidorah's motives, and what she presents is an interesting argument to say the least. Before I get into this, if you don't agree with Altiori, don't go harassing her or her channel or any of her social media. This is a discussion on Godzilla stuff and it isn't worth bullying someone over. Without further ado, let's discuss what Altiori thinks Ghidorah is after. Now, for those unfamiliar with Altiori, she discusses fictional media related to animals such as Jurassic World, How to Train Your Dragon, and of course, Godzilla. However, some of her theories can be out there, to say the least. And this video is nothing different.
In this video, we ask the question, what does Ghidorah really want?
Oh, well, that's easy enough to answer. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it. Ghidorah was terraforming the Earth to better suit his needs because, spoiler alert again, he's an alien from outer space.
Sounds simple enough.
Ghidorah wanted all the kaiju to be raised. He wanted them to walk the surface, and he took over the planet, or at least that was his mission, so that kaiju could walk the Earth once again.
What?
As a result of all the kaiju roaming about, the Earth started healing based on the clippings in the post-credit scene.
Yeah, but that was because Godzilla was in charge, not Ghidorah.
Ghidorah is like you, and Godzilla is like you, and they go at it. Ghidorah didn't even get the time to yawn before Godzilla engaged in battle with him.
Yeah, but he had the time to rise up and vaporize some soldiers with gravity beams, look up the ash remains, and attack the Monarch team's Osprey. Sounds like a lot of time to me.
After Ghidorah got the upper hand and subdued Godzilla, he went straight to waking up all the monsters.
No, he followed the orca's signal and went to work whooping Rodan's ass.
Think about it for a second. All the monsters were asleep under Godzilla's rule. Ghidorah came and basically told them, I'm freeing all of you, you don't have to be afraid anymore. You can walk on the surface and we can reclaim the Earth.
Pretty sure he said bitty 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 bitty.
We always talk about Ghidorah being the destroyer of worlds. But is he really? I mean, surely, releasing all the kaiju all at once will destroy the world. But based on Emma Russell's explanation of what we were doing to the planet, from the kaiju's perspective, we might be the virus too. It may be the truth. Vera Farmiga's character may have been telling the truth. Now, we see Ghidorah and other kaiju walking through Central City or something as bad guys because they're destroying us. But the kaiju don't see it that way. What is it that Dr. Wu said?
But you didn't ask for reality. You asked for more teeth.
I never asked for a monster.
Monster is a relative term. To a canary, a cat is a monster.
Don't bring poor Dr. Wu into this.
And to Ghidorah, we are the infection of the planet. We are the things that he must rid of it. To Ghidorah, it is possible that Godzilla is seen as the villain because he's the one that allowed us to run so rampant and to overpopulate this planet till we brought about its very destruction and a lot of the species on it as well.
Ghidorah's rivalry with Godzilla stems from them battling over domination over the ecosphere. And Ghidorah doesn't hate humans because we destroy and pollute the planet. If that's the case, then why would he destroy early human civilizations that weren't affecting the planet on such a scale? He doesn't have it out for us. He could get less of a shit about us. The same can be said for the other kaiju, who have been dormant for thousands, if not millions of years.
Ghidorah might see Godzilla as the villain because he forced the monsters into hiding and into deep slumber when they should have been awake and healing the planet, which is their very role.
The kaiju went underground and deep in the ocean because of a lack of radiation on the Earth's surface. Dr. Graham said this in the 2014 film.
Let me ask you a question, just to see it this way. If your dog is infested with fleas, do you take pity on the fleas? From the fleas' perspective, they're just trying to live, and it's not their fault that they've become overpopulated. Where there is supply, there is demand. Where there is food, there is life. But when you see your poor dog in agony, constantly scratching and bleeding from all the scabs forming from the abrasions it caused by scratching so much, you see the fleas as an infection, as a disease. You want nothing more than to just get rid of them, and you will do it by any means necessary.
No! By that logic, it wasn't his dog to begin with. What Ghidorah is doing is stealing the dog, shaving it, grooming it, dyeing its new coat of fur, and painting its nails the way he wants it, then beating the rightful owner with a shovel and telling the police it was always his dog.
The point is, being a monster is relative, and to Ghidorah, we may be the monsters, we may be the pests. He doesn't look at us as humans and poor things that have families. He looks at us as these little disease-ridden creatures that have overpopulated the earth so much to the point where they've destroyed it. We are the locusts, the pestilence, the plague of this planet. Also consider that Ghidorah might have been here before Godzilla. I'm pretty sure that he's much older than Godzilla is. When he came to this planet, it probably haven't even formed yet, and he was probably one of the first life forms here to watch life evolve and become what it is.
He came to Earth in ancient times when our most advanced weapons were spears. Ancient people called him the Hydra that fell from the stars. They said this in the movie! How would they know this if he was here before them?
Regardless, I'm going off of what we observed from the recent movie, Godzilla King of the Monsters. It seems as though Ghidorah just wanted to get rid of us. While that sucks for us and we see him as an evil entity, if we're the things that are destroying his home, because he was here before us, we can't really blame him for feeling that way.
No! No! No!
Ghidorah was terraforming the planet to suit his needs. He's an alien. He's lucky to be breathing in our atmosphere, let alone calling every kaiju on the planet.
He may be like Varys from Game of Thrones, where he doesn't care about any one individual or thing, he cares about the realm, the planet.
So he's raiding now?
Is it possible that he got the name coined Destroyer of Worlds because he destroyed civilizations? But why did he destroy all those other civilizations?
Because he is a living storm trying to conform the planet to suit his needs.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
According to Serizawa and Monarch, Godzilla's job is to regulate nature, to keep the balance, to keep monsters from overpopulating. Yet he didn't prevent us, the little monsters, from overpopulating, which is said to be the very reason why the planet is being mismanaged and going into chaos. It seems as though Ghidorah was playing that same role, and we saw him as a sort of Thanos character.
Monster is a relative term. To a canary, a cat is a monster.
Also, we are not kaiju!
He probably just saw that the planet was dying at the hands of the humans and that there was just simply too much of us. We were too violent and too destructive, and Godzilla was doing nothing about it.
Ghidorah came here long before we overpopulated and polluted the Earth's ecosystem, and then went dormant for several millennia. How could he possibly see that all in 1 or 2 days he was awake?
In the Godzilla anime, Ghidorah's origin was one of being a monster or a creature that acts as a form of divine punishment that was intended for decadent civilizations that pronounce themselves Lord of Creation, according to the source.
No, he was a flying spaghetti god that ate planets, worshipped and was summoned by the Exif, who offered planets as tribute. Godzilla was implied to be the divine punishment.
Also, according to the source, Metphis noted to Haruo, the main character, that the Exif, the elf pointy-eared people, had witnessed numerous civilizations destroyed by monsters during their time wandering space. And he said monsters, not just Ghidorah, with Godzilla's appearance on Earth simply being the latest instance.
Yes, and he also said those monsters were eaten by Ghidorah, or more specifically, they were the fruits to be harvested by Ghidorah.
So even in that anime, Godzilla was basically course correcting. The Godzilla that we saw in City on the Edge of Battle and that whole trilogy was actually doing the job that he was intended to do. And in the first movie of that trilogy, we see the humans running and screaming and witnessing the destruction, and it sounds so horrible. And we see Godzilla as the bad guy until we realize that he really isn't. He's just doing what was best for the Earth, and we saw the Earth flourish and evolve under his rule. Well, not with us on it.
I mean, we only saw Godzilla fight Japan. Based on the tie-in book, Aggregate Destroy might be running rampant in the US, but I'll give you that.
And therein lied that problem. It is revealed later that the Exif had actually wandered the vastness of space for a long time after their planet was destroyed.
By Ghidorah.
And they converted the inhabitants of countless other worlds to their faith before summoning Ghidorah to eat them. It's possible that Ghidorah started off exacting punishment on these civilizations.
No! They were ritual sacrifices for Ghidorah to feed on since he feeds on energy.
And from what it sounds, and based on what we see in the anime, it seems as though humans or other civilizations that become so technologically advanced that they can wander space and they overpopulate their planets or destroy their planets or become too powerful for their own good are sought out by Ghidorah so he can correct them.
He was feeding on them!
The three-headed dragon, judge, jury, and executioner.
The flying spaghetti monster. Useless, weird, and defeated by a tree.
That is possibly what the Ghidorah in King of the Monsters was doing. He didn't give a shit about us. He didn't give a shit about Godzilla.
Careful, it's learning.
All he cared about was the planet.
Never mind.
And if you realize that the fleas that were infesting your dog, cat, or animal were immune to whatever you were using to try and get rid of them, you would move tenfold to try and get rid of them. You would dunk your animal in a chemical peel if it meant giving them relief and getting rid of those damn fleas that you see as such a pestilence.
I mean, I wouldn't personally. I would most likely see a professional like a vet or something. But hey, whatever rustles your jimmies.
The fleas aren't evil, but neither are you for wanting to protect your dog. Basically, Ghidorah is the human, the planet is the dog, and we are the fleas.
And Ghidorah is still that one lady who gets triggered when she can't pet the service dog.
Or maybe Godzilla has a more sinister plan, which would make him the villain. And yeah, if you don't like it, whatever, it's just a theory.
A game theory.
This is just for fun, but it's something to think about. What if Godzilla let us overpopulate and destroy ourselves and destroy the planet because he knew eventually if we made the planet hostile enough for ourselves, we would all die out, leaving him at peace again, so then he could wake up the other monsters and everyone could live in peace and harmony without the damn humans around anymore. I mean, Godzilla's old enough and these kaiju live long enough that waiting for us to eradicate our own species wouldn't take any time to him. 100,000 years to us is probably like a week for him or a weekend. He probably knew that it's only a matter of time before we nuke the entire place, which would be a perfectly habitable place for him and perfect for all the other kaiju to then raise up from their sleep and have enough endless energy to feed on, at least for a while.
But the Earth's ecosphere and atmosphere would be screwed beyond belief. Yes, there would be a lot of nuclear radiation, but all other life would suffer. Plants, animals, fungus, bacteria, all would be screwed with nuclear lube, which goes against what MonsterVerse Godzilla stands for in terms of maintaining balance.
What if Godzilla didn't even give a shit about us and wanted us to kill off ourselves, and Ghidorah coming in and saying, no, I'm gonna do this and heal the planet, and Godzilla's like, you damn fool, I already had everything planned up and you're messing up my plan.
Stop making Ghidorah sound noble!
The both of them want the same thing, but they just have different ways of getting it.
No, they don't.
Ghidorah probably saw Godzilla as a slave master, forcing the other kaiju to sleep, and he thought Godzilla was being evil because he let the planet run rampant for so long and be destroyed by these freaking flea things.
No, he didn't.
Just a thought.
Not a very smart one. Anywho, that is it for this video, my random ladies and gents. If you haven't seen Godzilla King of the Monsters, go see it. I highly recommend it. And again, don't harass or bully Alciori for her weird theories. She's doing what she enjoys and expressing it with an audience, and that's worth respecting. That said, leave any other dinosaur, Transformer, Godzilla videos, or whatever videos you want me to debunk or discuss in the comments below, and I wish you a random day.